Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players, uncover their stories, and discover what makes them tick. If you love guitar, music, and the backstory of people's lives, stick around. You're in the right place. For more information on advertising on Everyone Loves Guitar, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. And, you know, one of the coolest things about hosting this show is when I get to talk with a musician and an artist that music I love, and that's definitely the case today. I'm with one of my favorite bands, actually, with Justin Greaves, who is the what do I say, the brainchild, the master, the wizard behind
the no brainchild,
the no brainchild behind Crippled Black Phoenix out of England. They're a phenomenal band. If you don't know them, I really encourage you to check them out. Awesome, very deep, very heavy music. Not heavy like in blah, blah, blah heavy, but heavy like intense. Let me tell you about Justin, and we'll get into talking with him. He began his musical career at a really early age, started playing drums after being inspired by Adam and the Ants. Grew up with his older sister, ended up meeting some local punks and going to gigs while being underage for the pubs, clubs, and venues. Played his first gigs when he was around 15, started traveling and touring outside of his local area shortly after that, around 88. One of his first big gigs was with Napalm Death in Birmingham in March of 88, and that left a big impression on him. Cut his teeth on a diet of punk rock, classic rock, thrash, hardcore, and some old goth. He was listening to a lot of hardcore thrash when his dad made him listen to a box full of classic and progressive rock vinyl albums, and that really changed his approach to music and opened his mind. His dad had a record store, an independent record shop, since 1976, and he went in and helped decorate the shop ahead of its opening, and in return for that, as compensation, he got a bunch of vinyl albums, and that environment really helped him and really shaped his musical knowledge and his background of different kinds of music. Throughout the years, as I said, he was a drummer first, playing in loads of different bands, including some which took him around the world. The main ones being Iron Monkey, Electric Wizard, The Verruchers, Teeth of Lions, Rule the Divine. I'm going to mess it up. Borknagar? Borknagar. Yeah.
Borknagar.
What he said. and hard to swallow. In 2004, he quit music almost completely because he kind of got disillusioned with the heavy music scene in the UK, and it was very by the numbers for him. And making music at the time, he felt like it was dictated by what other people wanted and demanded, and there were rules and boundaries which he wasn't interested in. But as in most crisis, something good came out of it. He picked up the guitar. Now, here's what's cool. He's left-handed, but at the time, he'd never had his own guitar, so he'd play other people's right-handed guitar. So he's a lefty, but he knows how to play righty, which I find incredible because I'm righty and I can hardly play guitar righty. So good on you, man. Started playing guitar by himself. He had really no plans, and it basically gave him the freedom to do his own thing with no outside influence. So, you know, he just had fun with it, took some time, made up some ideas, and found his way around the guitar. He did some, what he calls crappy home recordings, but I would really bet they weren't. And a couple of friends were jamming with him. He says it was primitive stuff. I'm going to ask some questions about that. And he called it Crippled Black Phoenix, which I did some research, is a lyric from an Iron Monkey song, correct?
Yeah.
Which, you know, man, I really tried to listen to it, and I couldn't really hear it. Iron Monkey is not easy listening on lyrics. And then he got Dominic and Costas in the band with him, and he still had no plans to do anything. But a buddy of his, Jeff Barrow, told him to get in the studio and make some recordings. Everything started coming together and songs started taking shape. When the first Crippled Black Phoenix album was recorded, there was still no band, which is why Justin ended up doing a lot of the playing himself. Plus, he wanted to record the drums anyway. I cannot believe that you did all that, because that, like as we talked before, your music is very involved, man. It's a lot of shit going on. And that was the start of a whole new chapter in his life as the Crippled Black Phoenix guy. Tons of shit happened in the next 15 years of the band, but it shaped his life and redefined him as a musician. Justin doesn't really consider himself as a guitarist. He's just a guy who plays guitar and writes music using a guitar. So I guess it's the means to the end. But it has given him a new way of expressing himself in different ways. These days, he divides his musical time between Crippled Black Phoenix, which is his main band, and C'est Delan, which is his partner Belinda and himself, and also a new band that's coming out called World War. They have a Facebook page with some very rusty tracks on there. Check that out. We'll talk about it later. Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, no worries, man.
First of all, congratulations. For a band you didn't really mean to start, CBP's released like 9 studio LPs and 1 live album and 2 EPs, no?
Something like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's
I have to keep counting sometimes because I lose track myself. I don't know, because I kind of count. I think I count some of the EPs as albums because they're quite long anyway. So.
I know. I saw that. I was like, man, I actually felt bad saying it. I'm like, it says EPs. I'll say EP, but yeah, that's.
I think there's like, I think they tried to call I Vigilante like some kind of like mini album or something, but I think it was just because the distributors wanted to price it differently.
But you know what? That being said, it's 6 tracks, but it's 50,
it's an album length.
50 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, shit, that's not a EP. But anyway, man.
I mean, I always think like anything over 25, 30 minutes is an album, and that's pretty much everything we've done. So
no, I agree 100%, man. But honestly, congratulations. I mean, you've really, and I know I don't know you well at all, but I got a vibe from you that you definitely you know, you're very, what's the word? Reserved, not reserved. You're certainly not boastful. I don't know what the right word is, but you're very conservative in your accolades, man. But you've done a great job to do this much. And like every album's really good. It's not like, you know, well, this one was a dud, but you can forgive it because the next 2 are good.
I think, yeah. So some of our hardcore fans might disagree with you that every album's as good.
No, man, screw that. You know, I love them. You know, I really
thanks,
do.
Man. I appreciate that.
In your bio, you mentioned that your dad made you listen to a box full of classic and progressive rock vinyl albums, and that pretty much changed your approach to music and opened your mind. I was curious specifically what changes took place in you musically, and how was your mind open after going through that?
Well, I mean, I think it's just because obviously I liked what I was hearing. So I probably wasn't prepared for that. You know, I mean, having an open mind is like easier than people think. You know, I mean, you'd be surprised what you actually like if you take the time to listen to it. And obviously, being at a certain age, I hadn't been bothered about listening to anything outside of the stuff that was really exciting to me, which was, you know, punk rock and some thrash, you know, early thrash then, you know, Venom and things like that. And then all of a sudden there was this box of rock albums, which some of them were familiar because my dad opened the shop in 76. So I've been familiar with album covers since then. And album covers is probably why the artwork is an important aspect for me, because at an early age, you see 12-inch album covers in my dad's shop for the first time, and they make a big impression on you. So you see, which Queen album is it with the robot thing on the front? You know.
You know, I'm embarrassed to say I'm not a huge Queen. I mean, I'm not a huge Queen fan.
I can't remember which album it is because I'm not a big Queen fan either. But you know that album cover, you know, huge impression on me. The first Journey album, that album cover, huge impression on me. Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks. Obviously, fluorescent yellow, and it had a swear word on it. You know, things like that. They were kind of what I connected to. Yeah. So then my dad put this box of albums, you know, down, and I was looking through them, and I was recognizing albums, and I was seeing album covers that were just amazing. And the first one I remember was Demon. It was the album with Don't Break the Circle on it, which is the first. And there was a Magnum album as well, which is like, Magnum is one of the bands I didn't get into, but on a Storyteller's Night, I think, or something, one of those ones, maybe the one before, I can't remember. But anyway, the artwork, you know. So I gave them a chance because of the cool 70s classic rock artwork, you know, a lot of Psygnosis stuff, you know, a lot of Chris Foss or the other guy? I can't remember now.
In the artists?
I'm just trying to remember. God,
the only ones I know is like Hypnosis, which was Pink Floyd's art team.
That was Storm Thorgerson.
Storm Thorgerson, yeah.
The guy who did the Yes album covers now.
I know the covers. I know you're talking about.
It will come to me in a minute. Anyway, regardless, that sort of stuff really, like, cause, I was into art. I went to art college in the end, and then dropped out. But but I was almost forced down a path of visual art rather than musical art. And so I gave him a chance, and discovered that there was some very cool music that I would have never heard before, particularly Pink Floyd, particularly Deep Purple was another one, things like that, that I hadn't paid enough attention to, but I was still young, So.
Credit to you to being open-minded, because I think maybe I'm twisted, which very could be possible, but I've gotten more open-minded as I got older. As a younger person, I think I don't know that I would have done that.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know what other people were like.
Yeah.
I only gauge it on what I think,
Of course, yeah.
I guess that I must have always been like that,
Yeah.
I don't know what forms that, maybe just because I was brought, not completely free to do what I like, but my parents are quite kind of open-minded, liberal kind of people. And my dad being into music anyway.
Yeah,
I think there was people that came in the shop, people who worked in the shop that were kind of like, he had friends that were kind of like long hair and smoking joints out the back of the shop and stuff,
Yeah, well, if you grow up in an environment like that, you're going to tend to be definitely a little more open-minded than not. But I think some of that's England too. I think my observation, I think parenting in England is a little more laid back. I think people tend to let their kids be a little more so.
Maybe. I think that, but then I did grow up in a rural area, which, looking at it now, is very bigoted. It's a very backwards kind of thinking area.
Yeah.
They don't like outsiders, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
But so I did grow up in an area that really I shouldn't be a product of this area.
Right.
I think it was because, what kind of proves it is the fact that when I was, I think it was like, I was learning to drive. And at the same time I was in art sixth form college. And I wasn't getting along with the art teacher because they wanted to teach me how to do the things the classic way. I just wanted to do my own thing. They didn't like that. So regardless of if I did a good quality piece of art, they would just dismiss it anyway as rubbish because it was a picture of Judge Dredd or something, They saw what I was drawing and not how I was drawing it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean.
So I fell out with them, and then I fell out of college. I quit college, and I fell out with my dad because he wanted me to go to college. I was really into music, and then I was in a car crash a few years, when I was young, and I got some compensation money. And as soon as I got that, I bought myself a van and a drum kit, and I basically left home.
Wow.
So I fell out with the parents, but I just all of a sudden had this money that people my age don't have. You know, it was only a few thousand. It wasn't very much, but it was enough to live on for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I blew the lot. I don't,
Shocking. A young kid blowing a bunch of money.
Kind of stupid, but I don't really regret it because what it did is gave me my own path, and I went and discovered myself. And I just played drums in my basement, joined, just did some really crappy bands, but learned everything my own way. Even though years later I'd think, well, maybe that was doing things the hard way,
Yeah, but at least you forged your own path, man.
That maybe is why I'm probably just better off doing my own thing. You know,
Yeah.
I've always struggled to sort of fit into a neat, tidy box. You know, and I've always had problems. You know, I had problems at school because I liked school, but I didn't get on with it because when the teacher comes along and didn't like the fact that I like to do my own thing a little bit more, then I tend to fall out with them.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. No, I totally,
Because
man, I totally get what you're saying. I have issues with authority, so I relate 100% with, with what I get it, man. Yeah, I get it. It's like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know where it comes from though, because, you know, my brother is really straight laced. He's like the opposite to me, you know, but he is 10 years younger than me. So he didn't grow up in this exact same environment.
Sure.
But my sister, who I was close with, she's different to me as well, you know. But she did everything the proper way. She completed school, she completed college, she did really well. You know, she went further education and she worked for herself. And so yeah, it's I just don't know where it comes from at all.
Did you make it? Did you work it out with your dad? Did you guys ever reconcile?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
it was around about 1990. I actually ended up playing drums in a band with him, doing Jethro Tull songs.
That is cool, man.
Yeah. They had their own little thing. It was like kind of a tribute band, but it was not a strict tribute band. They kind of did it their own way.
That's cool.
And we played with Blodwyn Pig at the Jethro Tull convention, and then
that's really cool.
Clive Bunker and Mick Abrams was playing in Blodwyn Pig, right? So that's two of the original, you know, the OG Jethro Tull members.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But then what happened was Ian Anderson, and it wasn't Dave Pegg, but the bass player at the time of the Jethro Tull, they turned up at this convention. And then they decided to go on stage with Mick Abrams and Clive Bunker and do a few Tool songs. So we just, you know, we were like the tribute band or whatever. And then the guys turn up.
That's really cool, man. That's very cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was very cool. And I mean, I had a green Mohican at the time. You know, I was I didn't fit in at all, but I was helping my dad out. And again, another thing, one of those that change your whole outlook, you know.
That's cool.
And I think me and my dad connected on the level, you know, when we was in a sort of a band together, he pretty much stopped being a father figure then and became more of a friend.
That's great, man.
So, you know, like I said, I mean, it bounces between mates and dad, mates and, you know, it's still like that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, that definitely made a difference.
That's cool, man. Thank you for sharing it. I actually interviewed Martin Barr from Jethro Tull.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
He's very, you know, he's like just a working class stiff, like still, and just loves playing music and just, you know,
yeah,
it's like he's 17, man. He's just really cool, and he's I think 70 something, you know.
Yeah, I never met him, but I met Mick Abrams. I've met him a couple of times because we actually played with Blood and Pig again after that, and he's a funny guy. He's you know, definitely the sort of guy walk in a pub and get everybody laughing and stuff. Quite a big character.
Hey, you said also that you initially recorded primitive stuff. What do you mean by that? Because I think you're underselling it, but
I mean primitive. I mean, I have because to this day I have no recording software. I've never really got along with it. So the most technically advanced kind of demos, I have like a Boss BR900 8-track digital recorder.
Okay.
And I don't even use all the functions on it.
Wait a minute, but all these albums you've made, they were done in a studio then?
The albums are done in the studio, yeah. Okay. Everything's like played by humans, done in the studio the proper way. Yeah, nothing is fake on the albums, but the demos, they're literally just, you know. And when I first started doing the demos, real primitive stuff, all I had was my drum kit in my living room and a little practice amp and a borrowed guitar. So what I had to do is would kind of come up with something, an idea on the guitar, and then I had a mini disc recorder and a little PZM. You know them PZM ambient room mics on the little plate.
No, but
so I had one of those. So what I'd do, I put the plate mic down in the room, and I would go on the drum kit and hum the tune in my head and play the drums to nothing, right? And then I would record that onto a mini disc. Then I would put that mini disc into my stereo system. I would play it out of my hi-fi speakers. Then I would put the guitar practice amp next to the hi-fi speaker and the microphone in the middle. So I had the drums playing through the hi-fi, and I would play the guitar along with the drums.
Holy,
yeah,
that is primitive. I would not challenge you on that.
And then just to get multi-tracks, I would just repeat the process bit, and then it would become really degraded and weird sounding. You know, the drums would be like super sketchy sounding. Mm. The weird thing though is some of them actually sound kind of good because it's a weird atmospheric thing going on where it's like super lo-fi. But and that was like, I'm talking about 2004, so there was a lot more technology available. It's just I didn't have it.
Wow, that's amazing.
You just use what you've got at hand. But it's as simple as that. I didn't have any recording equipment. I don't really know my way around software, but I did have a way of recording something, so I recorded it, and it's as simple as that.
But you have, obviously, your music is very layered. Mm. So you've obviously got some. Do you have some process of organizing this, or outside of just in your head?
No, I record all the different. You mean like sort of melody lines and different instrumentation on the songs. I pretty much record all those different melodies on whatever I've got. So if I have like a keyboard at home, I'll do something on the keyboard, or I will play something. I will multi-layer the guitars on my 8-track. So I have like maybe 6 guitar tracks going. Mm-hmm. But only 2 or 3 of them will be guitar tracks. The rest of them will turn into piano lines or keyboard lines or whatever. So I'll have the melodies, I'll have the ideas, and I'll just layer up because the demos actually sound just as layered as the album. So sometimes
it's
even
amazing.
More. Sometimes the demos get stripped down for the album. But and it's, I think in the past, since maybe definitely when I started doing Crafty Ape demos, definitely then you'll hear that the demos are very, very close to the albums. Okay. The arrangements, the song arrangements and the instrumentation, they sound very close. But that was just because of circumstance, just because I ended up getting a digital recorder around then, and it was easier to record demos. Do
you think that's also a function of your as you continue making more and more records, you improve, and like from an efficiency standpoint, like you get more of what you want, so you can put more on the demos?
I have to be a bit careful because I'm a bugger for putting too much stuff onto a song sometimes. That's what I mean. Actually, I learned a lot from I did a couple of film soundtracks, kind of just small, low budget stuff. But, and that taught me a valuable lesson about, I did a couple of bits of music and then put it to the film, and I was watching it, and the music was just way too much. There was so much stuff going on. And I just stripped down, and all, and some parts were just a guitar or just a piano or something, And that taught me quite a valuable lesson. Like, don't overindulge all the time. But then, I think dynamics have always been important since day one. First album, there's some stuff is so minimal on the first album, really, really miserable stuff, One riff builders, for 12 minutes.
I wouldn't call it miserable, man. I wouldn't say it's miserable.
Yeah. It's a funny one. That was, it was, I don't know what that album really is. Weird one to me, that is. I don't know if I like it or not, you see.
But you could say, I think everybody could say that about, you look back 10, 12 albums later, I don't think anybody's going to be happy with their first album 10 or 12 albums into it,
Yeah, unless like, sometimes I'm just putting a light on. Sometimes, I mean, I don't like to be negative about anything really when it comes to other bands, but there's been a shift in recent years where bands seem to have this sort of need to succeed on their first album. So it's all guns blazing, The production is super compressed for radio, so it's like an oral assault. It's like some kind of abuse. I think there should be a law against it. So it's all like mastered really loud, and every song is like every little bit of extra fat is trimmed off. So it's it's super produced, and they have to basically succeed on their first album. And I've never seen really that formula work. I mean, there's bands that are successful on the first album, but usually it's bands that are not really trying to do that. They just are.
Right. I get what you're saying.
When it's really try hard like that, when everything's put into a debut album and this is your new favorite band and everything. I've never seen that formula work.
Yeah.
So, so it's the whole first album syndrome is, I stand by everything that I've ever done, if whether or not I like it or not. But the thing is, there wouldn't have been a second album that sounds like it was because without the first one, and so on and so on.
Yeah, it's solid.
And I think there was a time, especially in the late '60s, early '70s, when music executives didn't know what the hell was going on with new music. There were guys in, the old guys in their suits.
Yeah,
they didn't have the finger on the pulse.
Yeah,
so guys like Frank Zappa or Pink Floyd or those bands that was genuinely innovative.
Yeah,
they would be the ones telling people how it is. Right. So the music execs would just throw money at them, but they would be not until their third, fourth, fifth album where they actually really
they got something. Yeah,
got something. Pink Floyd is obviously it's a bit of an obvious example, but it's the best example I can think of.
Yeah, well, you look at Adam Hart Mother. That's when David Gilmour started becoming David Gilmour, right? And then and then what album was Echoes on? And then it came. Metal. That was when he became, to me, David Gilmour from on Echoes.
Yeah.
That was how many albums in? You're right. What, like probably 5 albums in, probably.
Something like that. I mean, there was Ummagumma and Atom Out Mother. And before that was Saucer Full of Secrets.
Piper at the Gates of Dawn,
which is obviously they had to do those albums to discover that they couldn't write short 60 psychedelic pop songs.
Yes,
but they had to do it. And there was some great stuff on those albums, but it wasn't fully formed sort of Pink Floyd really.
And that's a good point, because I don't think people have the time. There's the time or because everybody's funding their own stuff nowadays. It's unfortunate you don't really have the time or the money or the you're the kind of guy, you strike me as like extremely tenacious, that you're going to get this shit done regardless, right? Like if you just strike me as that kind of guy. Like, man, if you're homeless,
it's not intentional.
Yeah, this is gonna be done. Period. No matter what. Not everybody has that tenacity.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just because I don't know how to do anything else. Like I fear the consequence of not having music in my life, so I have to do it.
Yeah. Whatever the reason is, though, there's got to be that fire to get there. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter almost. If that pilot light is not lit, it doesn't matter. But yours is lit. So you're going to. Well, I mean,
you're right. But I wish I had that kind of drive when I was younger. I think I've had more drive to do something for myself 10 years ago than I did 30 years ago.
But you said that, though. You got to go through the first. You wouldn't get to that, right?
No.
So it's you can't say that's good for everybody else, but not for you.
Well, you're right. I mean, I do believe that we're not the people that we are without the things we go through.
Right. Absolutely.
So I guess I don't. I mean, I do have regrets, but I don't hold on to regrets, if you see what I mean.
I totally get it, man.
You can't let them influence your life now.
No, it's
But
about today.
I do wish that it's probably a cliche. But I do wish I had the same approach to music now that I do now. I wish I had that when I was in my teen years. I think I wish I didn't spend so many years just doing what the fuck I liked. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what that whole expression, and I don't know if I believe it. But there's youth is wasted on the young. I don't know if you ever heard that one over there. Right.
There you go. It is a cliche, right?
There you go. I think everybody that's listening to this or that's alive and is aware could probably say something like that. It is what it is.
Yeah. Man. But there's the young guys that like are really super talented and they know it and they get on with it and you think, oof, yeah, okay, fair play. I wish I'd done that.
Yeah, but I think that's few. And I've talked to some of those guys, but I think in general that's few and far between. I think when you're younger, you just don't have the coping skills. With rare exception, you may have these people that grew up in really perfect environments and like mom and dad had their shit together and somehow the kid had. I think that's more the exception than the rule. That's like these people who start a business and they think it's going to be like the iPhone. That's not really what you should like. It's great to dream big, but that's probably not what's going to happen with your business, whatever it is. So
yeah, just letting the cat out. Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm probably just joining the older guy gang.
You're all right, man.
That's I think that's kind of what's going on.
That's good, man.
I'm only like closer to 50 than I'm 40 now, and I think it's just maybe I'm just realizing, well, there's only so many years left, and I think I've probably discovered a little bit late how much stuff I actually want to do, and I didn't do it earlier.
You know what, though? I feel the same way.
Again, it's another cliche, but that's the honest answer. That's just how it is. So,
hey, I want to talk about a couple of the songs, a couple of Crippled Black Phoenix, specifically on I Vigilante, the 50-minute EP. First of all, I want to congratulate you again because you've done something that few people ever do. You've got a couple of songs, one of them being Troublemaker, which to me is like, your Dark Side of the Moon. That's an epic song. For listeners, wow. It's the first song on an album called I Vigilante that came out in 2010. It's like 8.5 minutes long. That song is completely engaging and immersive. You cannot casually listen to that song, man. It's so compelling. Everything about it, the music, the melody, the mood, the journey that it takes you on. And I wanted to just ask you a couple of questions about it. I read the lyrics, and the best I can make out, it's like a historical event from the 1600s, but I'm not sure. So if you could explain the lyrics and then what prompted you to write that song.
Well, there was an event in 1604 when the gunpowder plot, and the famous guy from it is Guy Fawkes.
Oh, Guy Fawkes Day.
Yeah,
I know from my wife. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's where it starts. That's where the theme of that song starts. And I always write a little kind of paragraph to go along with the song, and the idea behind it was that using Guy Fawkes as an example. It wasn't because of his religious convictions that I want to sort of celebrate him. And people celebrate the fact that he was caught and he was hung, drawn, and quartered. So he was executed. He was a small cog in a big, big mechanism. There was Thomas Gatesby and the rest of them. There was a lot of people involved. He was just a soldier who was the one prepared to go to Parliament and try and blow Parliament up. But it's not because it's Catholic, because I'm not religious or anything like that. But they were being really heavily oppressed by the king, basically, and they wanted to wipe out Parliament and start again. because it obviously was not working. It got to that point. So it's not for the fact that he was caught and basically murdered, capital punishment. It's because they attempted to make change.
Okay.
And it's the whole thing, it brings up a whole argument about whether you agree with active change, forcing change, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
It's that, it's on an album called I Vigilante.
Right.
Some people see vigilantes as being heroes. Some people see vigilantes as being villains.
Oh, okay.
And I actually, personally, I've every different circumstances it's different.
Sure.
So in one case it might be that a vigilante is righteous. Another case it might be that it's completely wrong. So I'm not opposed to vigilantism at all.
Sure.
I'm not opposed to the fact that Guy Fawkes and his friends and Thomas Gatsby and the rest of them, they tried to force change because they were being very heavily oppressed. Catholic priests, they were killed. It's as simple as that. So obviously it's a situation that can go on. So it represents the whole thing.
Okay.
But in a kind of black humorish way, the song kind of belittles the fact behind what he did.
Okay.
Because people nowadays say, "Oh yeah, Guy Fawkes, that troublemaker." We're going to have bonfires and celebrate. So that's where we're going to burn effigies of him. We're going to celebrate. But that guy, he tried to do something seriously positive, but in a way that obviously people disapprove of.
Okay.
Very, very slant kind of perceptions that people have, you see.
What a great song, man. I mean, that is definitely just such a powerful song. And on that same record, you have another song that is just fucking just killer. It's a 12-minute song called Bastogne Blues. And the opening dialogue in the beginning of that song is incredibly moving to set up the guy's voice, the old man, and this. Yeah. Where did that? Did you make that up?
No.
Was that from a movie?
I found the recording of the guy. His name is. I was trying to remember. I was going to look it up because you've got to forgive me. My memory is terrible.
It gets worse. Don't worry.
I want to say Robert Williams, but it's not Robert Williams. But anyway,
was that a movie?
No. It's just a guy. What happened is he got to his late 80s, early 90s, I think, and he'd never spoken about his experience as a soldier in the war in Bastogne.
Where did you find that? Where did you hear this?
It was a recording that a guy had actually posted up online. And it's not on anything that you can find. I mean, I just stumbled across the thing, and I did a bit of research on it.
Like random, you just happened to random.
It was just random guy, and what had happened is that he never spoke about the war, but then he was on his basically dying, and his son persuaded him to talk, and he basically opened up, and his son recorded him talking about it, and it was the first one and only time that he ever spoke about it. You see.
Holy shit! So did you have to go to the son and get permission to use it, or how does that all work?
Yeah, it was basically public domain.
Oh, it was. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And that is so intense, man. And his description is very beautiful in the way, like when he says, I'll never forget, he had bright blue eyes. Like that's not something that you would expect, how he was describing him as like this tender young kid. And, I guess as an old man, he's looking back and he could see the gentleness.
But imagine that. Imagine being so old and it's been, 70 years or whatever. And he's had that. He's kept that to himself all that time.
That's heavy shit, man.
And when he speaks about it, his memory is so vivid. That guy has had to live that. He's had that vividness, that memory, those memories, and that's probably not the only one as well.
And he's crying. And he cries at the end, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, he's pretty. He choked. Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised. Like, you've got to be pretty dead inside not to be a little bit choked up by that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just shows you the realities of war.
So you heard that, and that motivated you to write the whole song after that.
I wanted to write a song about, because I'm fascinated by war stories. Comes from my granddad. My granddad used to tell me stuff.
Was he in the war, like World War I?
Yeah, my granddad was on the Lancaster bombers, and he was posted out in Africa for a while, and then he came back. And,
is it World War One? Probably.
No, World War Two.
World War II.
Yeah. I had one of my great uncles was in the First World War, but he was killed. So, but my mum's dad, my Scottish granddad, he was on the Lancasters in the Second World War.
Wow.
And we used to play with my toy soldiers, and he used to tell me. But apparently, my mum and dad told me that he never spoke about the war to anyone. But I didn't know this. I know him from telling me all kinds of stories about the war.
That's pretty wild.
So So as it turns out, he was confiding in his grandson, me, when I was young, and he was telling me all these things, but he wouldn't tell anybody else. So maybe that was a kind of an outlet for him.
Wow, that's pretty deep. So you had like this emotional connection from these nice, gentle stories from your experience with your granddad.
Well, the one gentle stories he told me about burning bodies out of Sunderland flying boats that had crashed.
No, I mean the gentle the relationship with you and your granddad. It was probably gentle. That's what I meant.
Stories with war stories.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean that's kind of why I'm fascinated by interesting stories during conflict. It's why I did that Operation Mincemeat as well on Crafty 8. That's another war story. That's a more famous one. But the Bastogne Blues one is, I wanted to do a song. I wanted to do about the Second World War. Battle of the Bulge was something that particularly just fascinated me. I don't know why. Maybe it was just the setting, the atmosphere of the whole thing as well. And then I found out I was just looking for. I actually started off watching that film Pattern again, trying to find out different.
I remember that.
See if I could find some sort of bits of voice, snippets, the Battle of the Bulge and things like that. But I didn't find anything, and then just got struck lucky with a recording that I could use. And
that is intense, man. I mean, I got to tell you. This is not like fanboy shit. That song is literally perfect. Like it's so beautiful.
I don't know. Like the recording's not. There's things about that recording I don't like. Don't get me wrong. Don't take this the wrong way at all. Right?
No, it's your music. I don't take it the wrong way.
No. But a guy called Marion, who was our live drummer at the time, he was banging on at me about him not being able to play on the albums and stuff, because I used to do all the drumming. So I was being all nice and diplomatic and said, yeah, sure, you can do some drumming on the album. And that was Vigilante. And so I did Troublemaker and a couple of others.
You're playing slide on Troublemaker, right?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
The slide on Troublemaker was actually another guy playing it. It wasn't me on that.
That slide is perfect there. I got to tell you, man. It's very good, yeah. Yeah,
the slide is great. I played the slide on the demo, and wasn't great at pitching it, and the other guy was technically better than me, so he ended up playing it.
It's very appropriate, man. It's right on, bang on there, man.
Yeah. But anyway, I like this other guy do the drumming, and it really grates me, and I shouldn't have, which sounds really, I know it sounds really fascist dictatorial of me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, hey man, it's not a democracy.
Yeah, it kind of.
It's your fucking band. It's your band, right?
The most popular album, Vigilante, and to me, it sounds like a bad demo, but.
No, man, it does. There's nothing bad about that record. Oh my God. That record is like amazing, man. Honestly, every time I listen, because I listen to it a lot in the gym, because it's that kind of music, and that really you feel like, okay, I'm going to kill somebody now when I'm listening to this.
Oh, that's all right, then.
not like kill somebody, but like you just feel like very empowered, and there's so much energy coming out of those songs. So when you're in the gym, I'm sitting there like getting all that energy. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
But every time I've listened to that album, especially Bastogne Blues and Trouble, I'm like, when the song ends, so it's 20 minutes of music basically, you know, I'm like down. I'm like, I feel like, you know, it's like, wow, I'm disappointed it's over. So I you know, I got to, you know, hear it again. That's like literally, those songs are perfect, man, honestly. And I think that very few artists have done shit like that, where you have this epic, those are epic pieces, man. 20 minutes, 2 songs. That's badass, man.
I got told off for writing songs that are too long.
By who? By not a listener, not a fan. I guarantee you that. Not a fan of your music.
By Belinda, usually.
Really? Oh no,
no, it's not. I mean, it's a Crippled Black Phoenix thing, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's great.
People know by now that like I can't write short songs very well, but
you're taking us on a journey, man. That's why we're listening.
I mean, well, the thing is, first and foremost, if there's one thing that I'm remembered by in this band, is that it's honest music. I don't care about what anybody says about anything, as long as everyone knows it's just honest music. And when it's honest music, the songs dictate how things go, not me. I'm just the custodian of it. I'm just trying to, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Here, all I'm trying to do is get it out, right? And it's as simple as that. So if a song goes on too long for some people, that's just the way the song goes, you know. It's not written. I don't try and write long songs or anything. I don't try and make epic, deep songs. It's just, that's what I'm thinking. That's the best way I could get it out at that time. And those songs and those albums represent me trying to get those ideas out. And that's it. And sometimes, like I say, with Vigilante, technically, I don't think it's the best album, but I do hear what you're saying. People tell me all the time about Vigilante being a great album.
Epic.
And you know, half of me would kind of wish, you know, I would like to re-record that album one day and do it properly. But then the other half was saying, don't you dare, because you'll never capture the feel on it. No,
don't you dare, because you'll never No, man, make some new shit. Makes new stuff, because that's where your energy's better served doing that, you know.
Exactly.
But that is like I want to.
You know, we've got live versions of those songs anyway,
and they're great. And so I need to like personally thank you, because that music has like done so much for me, man. Like just to.
I appreciate that.
You know,
that blows me away right there.
Yeah, man. Like look, there's not a lot of things in life that you could sit. To me, when I do something and when I leave and I have more energy than I came in with, that is a fucking win. Whether it's a conversation with somebody or a piece of music, that's about it. You know, you can't ask for anything more to me out of life. I'm like a simple dude, you know. If you share some energy with me, awesome, man, because it's hard to do nowadays, you know, with all the shit everybody has going on. So
well, you know, that's great for you to say. You know, that, like I say, it blows me away. I mean, but you know, life should be simple like that, though. Yeah. You know.
Well, it is when I'm listening to you.
The one thing that, you know, there's one big thing that I really hate about what I do as a musician, as somebody in the music industry, is the music industry, right?
That was so funny you did that.
But you know what I'm saying, you know, it's all the unnecessary bullshit that goes along with what we do, right? Being in a band, dealing with ego, dealing with business, dealing with the you know, the sort of the evil necessities that go along with it, you know, having to, you know, that it's all so unnecessary, you know. And I went through a load of really heavy stuff with this band and with certain ex-members and things like that. And the whole thing was so unnecessary. Yeah. And it ruined a lot. It ruined a lot. It set the band back. It you know, I mean, I'm not going too far into it or anything, but, you know, it's that bullshit that, you know, life shouldn't be that complicated. It shouldn't be about all these silly little things, you know.
I think everybody's got that, though. Your format happened to be you had to deal with stuff with a band. Most people, you know, very few of us get out of here unscathed. in some way, shape, or form. Yours happened to come, and it always hits you where it hurts. And in your case,
but then, like and you could apply it. You could apply it to anything. I mean, obviously, I live in the real world as well, and I've had many different jobs having to support myself.
Sure,
and it gets ever more difficult. But I'd never take my own demons and issues into work. You know, I wouldn't go and to the bike shop and build bikes and create hassle for everybody in the bike shop. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get it, man.
Well, whatever's going on, you go and you do your work, and you try and live your life and do work that you enjoy, and it's not so much work, that's kind of, engage your success on happiness and not on social standing and finance and all that.
But that's not so easy for a lot of people.
No, it's not.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm 55. I've been working since I'm 14 years old.
You're looking good for it.
Well, you caught me on a good day. Thank you. This is the first project I've done in my life, and I'm a hardworking motherfucker. Everything I do. This is the first project in my life that I've done that I'm passionate about. Right?
Yeah, cool.
So I'm trying to be empathetic, I think, and I'm lucky. Thank God but it only happened because I said to myself, I want to do something that I'm happy. I want to do something that makes me happy. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know when I started these interviews, I didn't know where this would lead or anything like that, but I just wanted to do something that made me happy, and I didn't care. That was my number one goal. Mm-hmm. So my point is and I understand what you're saying, but you don't know where people are at a different, and some people are not, look, man, you meet people all the time. Some people are just not capable of being happy. They're just miserable assholes. Yeah. That's just, literally cannot, they're not happy unless they're screwing somebody. I mean, that drives their happiness. Thank God there's not a lot of them, but they exist.
Yeah. No, but then, like I say, it's, I know about, the real world, but in the arena of the band, because it's something artistic and creative and something that I actually put my heart and soul into, and it puts you in a vulnerable place. I have to enjoy it. Otherwise it's not worth it, because the bullshit that I've taken and what I have to put up with and things that hurt me, I've had to put up with that in order to carry on. So I need to be able to love this somehow, to be able to do it, because I don't get paid for it, and you take a lot of shit, and it's as simple as that. So there has to be something about it, and then music and bands, they attract the best people I've ever met. It attracts the most wonderful people you'll ever meet to this business, if you want to call it that. But it also attracts the worst as well. It's one of those kind of lifestyle businesses that goes to the extremes. There's not much kind of mediocre in the middle, just plodding along,
because it takes a lot to be just to be a musician. Performance wise, it's not easy. Yeah. You have to put a lot of effort into to getting there where you're capable of performing.
And that's where I don't believe ego belongs in what we do. Not for this band anyway. Maybe if you're like, if you're Van Halen, then it does belong. But that's your selling point. But for what we do, which is primarily music, the music comes first. Yeah, the music does all the talking. Then things like the egos that don't belong. And I think that's. We've clashed. I've clashed with people over things like that.
Well, I will tell you this, Justin. I would say that there isn't a person out there that would listen to any of your music, even if they don't like it. It's very pure. That comes across loud, and there's nothing like, you made a comment earlier about, I don't write long songs. I write music, and I let the song evolve as a lot, I breathe life into it. And that's how it comes across. So I don't,
it's the only, I'll just say it as the only real way to do it,
But that comes across. It sounds like that. It doesn't, I don't think you're writing songs to get on the radio, although most of your songs can be on the radio.
It's because I don't really give a shit what other people think anymore. You touched on it, my bio. And I've always talked about, people have asked me about my past bands because like a couple of them are fairly well known. So I get asked about them a lot. And one of the reasons why I kind of dropped out of that kind of whole scene is because everyone's too concerned about what everyone else was thinking and saying about them, And there was one band in particular, it was just like the guy just wanted to write the same album over and over again. And I think that I'd probably just had enough of doing that,
Sure. Don't
get me wrong, I love that.
Yeah.
Street music, I love it. It's not because I don't like the music or anything. I don't know. I'm influenced by a lot more than just music. I'm influenced by life, by film, by, events, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you're looking at moving forward, man. You can't move forward, standing on the treadmill, man, basically.
I'll probably just get bored easy.
Yeah. No, but that's cool. But that makes your shit exciting.
Well, the biggest motivator for me to make music is when I want to hear some music that doesn't exist, I'll make it myself.
That's cool.
And that's it. That's the bottom line. So because I'm quite open-minded about music, I like a lot of different things. I want to hear a lot of different things. Therefore, I make a lot of different things. It's quite a simple formula. And it's something that, to be honest, until I get asked about it or I talk about it like this, which isn't often, I don't think about it.
Man, if you we could talk about string gauges if you prefer.
No, thanks.
and
what string gauges?
Like
what is that?
Like string gauge of like do you play 9s or 10s on your guitar?
I don't know what that is.
Man, where'd you grow up?
Here in this village where I live now. But it was just by coincidence I moved back here, actually. I moved away from here when I was 17. I didn't come back until I was in my 40s. So I spent all my time away from here, living in different cities and everything. But I grew up in the countryside in North Lincolnshire.
Childhood was pretty normal, or I guess normal within...
Yeah. I mean, my dad, like I said, he opened the shop in 76 and there wasn't really any record shops around at the time, and vinyl was huge at that time.
Yes.
And the first couple of years of that shop was very successful. And because when we opened the shop, we lived in the flat above it, like tiny little.
Cool.
Me and my sister had to share a room. My mum and dad had to have a bedroom that was in between the living room and the kitchen, so you had to walk through it the whole time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't great, but then the shop did well, and my mum and dad managed to provide for me and my sister, and then my brother later on. They gave us a decent life, I think. They got a house in the countryside in a nice village.
Cool.
But they still live in the same house, But then I think after, obviously you get to the 90s and you get the supermarkets and the chain stores, and then you get the online things. But my dad worked so damn hard to keep that shop going. He worked super long days every single day of the week. We didn't get many holidays, things like that. So he was a grafter, worked very hard at that shop, and I miss it very much. But yeah, it's thanks to that, the environment and everything. I think pretty decent. I think I'm grateful actually that I was allowed to go and make the mistakes by myself to a certain extent.
It's cool, man. Did you have the passion did you know early on, I'm just doing music. Mm-hmm. This is going to be my thing.
I think so. I mean, one of my best friend growing up, my old school buddy, actually used to live in the house opposite where I am now.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so it is so weird.
It's a small town. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. Going all around the world and living in so many different places. And then I ended up literally on the same, like 2 doors down from the house I grew up in.
That is wild, man. That is really wild.
But completely by chance. Did not plan it at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, and me and my best friend, David, who lived across the road, I can remember we must have been around sort of 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. still in primary school, and we made up a band called the Tissues. and we drew pictures of the tour bus, and we drew pictures of the outfits, which were all kind of like Adam and the Ants, because that's what I was into at the time.
Wow, at 10 years old, you're doing this.
Yeah, and then my dad had an old Wooding drum kit, and that's I got into drumming because Adam and the Ants, the double drums, Kings of the Wild Frontier came out. It was a school assembly, and that was my first performance ever. Was playing on the floor tom, and I played along with Kings of the Wild Frontier. So, and dressed up and doing that, and so I guess making up bands, not even being able to play an instrument. I'd not picked up the drums by then, but I was already making plans to be a band. It was kind of a cross between Adam and the Ants and Kiss, but I'm not really a big Kiss fan, to be honest. But yeah, at the time, strange one. Oh yeah, and I think my friend got the Bohemian Rhapsody single when it come out, and I also got Hocus Pocus by Focus.
That was great, man. Great stuff.
And we used to buy before. Well, my dad used to bring home the charts in a paper bag on a Saturday afternoon when he'd close the shop. He'd come home and he'd bring home a bag full of the 7 inches from the charts.
That's cool,
and
man.
Me and my sister would be able to have them,
That's really cool.
Yeah, but it was actually my friend, and he used to buy these things like a 7-inch singles club, and they would send him a box of 7 inches every month, and in that was Hocus Pocus. So I was with my friend, and we was playing Hocus Pocus, and that song is so fucking crazy. Yeah, it's great, Yeah. It just blew our minds, but we were young, so it was just like, oh, this is hilarious. This guy's singing, it's amazing. What the hell is this?
That was a good song.
Shit. I haven't thought about them early memories for a long time, but that's cool. How it went. That's exactly how it went.
Is your buddy still in the town? Do you guys ever connect?
No, he ended up in London. He's actually a financial journalist for the Financial Times.
That's wild. Wow.
He's a high roller in the city.
It's 180 degrees opposite.
Yeah, but actually I hadn't seen him for about 30 years, and a couple of weeks ago at Christmas I bumped into him outside for the first time in
that must have been cool. No,
it was amazing. Yeah,
that's really
so
cool.
Anyway, we're playing in London in March, so we've exchanged numbers, and says, right, we're going to be in London that day, you're going to come and we're going to go have a coffee and a catch up.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. That's good to hear, man.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, is there any, if you could go back and give advice to younger Justin, assuming you would be willing to listen, what advice would you have given yourself that would have made your life easier in any aspect?
I would have probably said, continue not to listen. Because what the fuck do I know? I probably know less than I did then. That's a good expression. I just said I feel a lot more like I did now than I did when I got here. So carry on.
Man, do you have a favorite song that you wrote?
Oh shit! You know what? These are really difficult questions when things like this, because I don't know. They're all my babies.
No, I know that.
There's a couple that stand out. I don't know if I've got a favorite, really. I tend to like the ones that get ignored for some reason. Like, I Am Free Today, I Perished. That's the last song on Night Raider, which is just an instrumental thing. Really miserable song. I really like A Brighter Tomorrow, which is on White Light Generator. It's the last one on White Light Generator.
Yeah, Brighter Tomorrow. Yeah.
It's Daniel and Belinda singing on it. I absolutely, what I really do love actually is when Daniel and Belinda sing together.
Okay.
Not like call and response. I mean, I like them when they're actually singing word by word together. Has a really, really amazing effect on me, that does. So those songs I really like. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I don't tend to listen to the albums at all after a certain point after recording them.
Yeah.
But when I do, I find myself liking things that I've probably forgotten about, and
That's
liking
nice.
them a lot more, and they maybe sometimes become more like my favourite song. So, but I'm just about to have to listen to a bunch of stuff anyway, because for this tour, obviously we're doing the stuff off from the new album because we're promoting it. But I wanted to play some different old songs that we haven't played. I wanted to do stuff that we've never done before.
Do you play Troublemaker like every set? Is that like a must?
No, actually, no. You know what? We played it a lot at first. A few years ago, we were playing it a lot. And then it got dumped. And then it didn't get touched for probably about five years or so.
Wow.
So, but then the last tour that we did, just the little short one in October, we went and did a Balkans tour. We pulled it out again and played it, and it was a lot of fun to play it again. So
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this time, the thing is, iVigilante stuff, it's all about we've forgotten who we are when we play live. That song, we would not get out of the venue alive if we didn't play it. And I think that song is probably, I don't know if it's my favourite song, but I think that's my greatest achievement with this band musically.
We've forgotten who we are.
That song.
Really?
We've forgotten who we are. Yeah, mate, I think so. I think it's one of the few songs that really sums up Crippled Black Phoenix.
That's interesting.
I really like Spider Island, actually. Just scrub everything. Just put Spider Island down. Nobody else knows that song. I love it. Nobody else. I always want to put it in the set, and I always get shot down.
What album is that on?
It's on the New Dark Age EP.
Okay.
Another one that's an hour long or something, but yeah, it's quite a heavy song actually. But it's I really like it.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Guitar wise, man, do you have what's your go-to guitar?
I usually just use Epiphones, right? And my go-to guitar for many years has just been the Lucille, but the sort of 335 rip-off kind of thing.
Yep.
Not 335. What is it? What is the BB King one? It's a semi hollow body, but it hasn't got the cutouts on it.
It's a 335, but without the F holes. I thought
it's got no F holes, no. But I think
it's totally hollow, isn't it?
It's not totally hollow. No, it's only semi hollow.
So it's got to be the 330. Well, I mean, that one, that's a 335. That's got the F holes. I don't know if you can see it.
It's similar. It's similar,
but it's semi hollow. Yeah, it's a block.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's not got the F holes anyway. But it's got the tone. It's got the tone switch. It's got like 5 settings.
Oh, so it's the 345 or 355. That's
yeah. There we go.
One of them's stereo. One of them's not mono.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Mono stereo thing.
Okay, yeah, but it has the baritone switch.
Yes.
So it's I think that's a 345, like Freddie King used to play.
345.
I think
okay,
so.
Right,
it's a 345 or a 355. Everybody.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't a 335.
Yeah, 335 is that. There's no baritone.
But it was. I was trying to remember exactly which one.
So that's what you usually play in.
Yeah, except I broke it. After many years, I used that for recording on, and I used it for touring as well.
That's amazing. That's an unusual guitar.
It's I don't know why. Actually, because I'm not really really picky and snobby about guitars. I pick up a guitar if I like it.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite guitar to play that I own is the one my dad gave me when I first started the band, when I didn't have a guitar, and eventually he gave me one of his, is a Gordon Smith, this SG style Gordon Smith.
Is he a local, like a UK? Is that a UK builder or something? I've never heard of that.
Do you know what? I don't know where it comes from.
Interesting.
I'm familiar with Gordon Smith because I have one. But it's basically, it's an SG, but it's a very, very simple SG. It's just a twin coil, one pickup, bridge pickup. And it basically, it goes, it's like punk rock guitar, it's off or on, and but it's got. I like it kind of a shallow neck, but a wide neck. I play a lot of things. I think it's probably because I'm left-handed, but I play a lot of things.
But you play right. You play it righty.
Yeah, but right. A lot of the you can't hear it so much. Once the songs are all put together, you can't hear a lot of what's going on the guitar. If you soloed the guitar on the songs, you'd probably hear a lot of things going on. Like I'll play, the sort of the minor chords, with the minor fifth and stuff like that. The kind of upside down power chords, I call them. But what I do is I play a lot of those, but I play a lot of open strings underneath at the same time, or I'll do the octave thing and I'll play the open strings, and they'll be out of pitch and pitch kind of thing. So I need a wide guitar neck to be able to do that, because my hands are not that accurate. Otherwise, I'd have to have it strapped up here, and I'd be like,
What do you play? Do you play guitar live, or are you playing keyboards live?
No, I play guitar live. Yeah.
It's funny because you don't consider yourself a guitar player, but the guitar is a pretty critical instrument in the mix.
Yeah, it is. It's it's a guitar band, really.
Yeah, it is.
To say that there's a lot of ambient and piano and keyboards and that, actually, I mean, when we play live, we have 3 guitars.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's myself, and then I have another guitarist that takes care of the more technical kind of leads, if you see what I mean. Mm-hmm. And then Daniel, the singer Daniel, he plays rhythm as well. So we kind of have there's no such thing as a lead guitarist.
So you're trading leads with the other guitar player.
Yeah, I tend to do the atmospheric stuff. What I do is a lot of the trilly kind of fast picked, a lot of delay and things like that.
Right.
I'll do those sort of lead melody lines. I'll do the meat and potatoes, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And the real nice, the really sweet, clean, technical guitar solos. That's not me. That's whoever the other guy is at the time.
Yeah, that's been your guitar. It's always like a rotating door for you with guitar players, right?
Yeah, I don't mean it to be. The thing is, though, I mean, historically, it's really hard to get 8 people together to tour in a band. So we've always had
difficult.
Yeah, so we've always had the problem of having a stable lineup when it comes to touring anyway, because of time commitments. People have other bands, have jobs.
Sure.
But because the band comes first, what I ended up doing is, I mean, for a long time, I was the only guy signed to a label. I was the only permanent member of the band. Everybody else was kind of session.
Yeah, sidemen.
Although I always try and keep the same people. I would have loved to have the same people in this band now. In fact, the lineup now is like the guys involved now are the best people. So I wish these guys were around at the first album.
Right.
So I don't really like change, but it's just a must.
Wait a minute, back that up. I don't like change. You mean in this particular area? You seem like a guy who thrives on change.
Yeah, no, but I don't like changing
musicians.
Bands.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, I like to have a vibe with somebody. I don't like having a rotation.
No, I get that.
It does tend to stay for the most part the same people for a long time.
Good.
But now since we signed with Season of Mist, myself and Daniel the singer and Mark the keyboard player, I brought them into the inner circle, if you like. Yeah. So I said, okay, you two are full-time bands like me. Equal.
Okay.
But that's like on paper kind of thing. So those two, me and Mark and Daniel, we take the responsibility and we take the hit, good or bad, on tour. Right. So if the tour does well, we do well. If it loses money, we lose money.
Yeah, that's good though, because everybody's incentivized to make it work.
Yeah. But then the rest of the band outside that, they get a wage. So,
yeah, they're sidemen.
Yeah. So I mean, me, Mark, and Daniel, we'll lose our houses, but the rest of the guys will get paid, which is fair enough because we take that responsibility.
No, I get that. I totally get that. What are you playing now, though? So if the Epiphone broke, what are you gonna?
Yeah, I know. Oh God, yeah. I couldn't believe it. That was on a flight to Spain. I got it out of the case.
That's so disheartening, man.
Yeah, I know. I hate it because I can't afford like a proper heavy duty flight case. I just had to take. I mean, it's a proper flight case, but not amazing. Yeah. And I think over the years, it just lost its integrity a little bit. Then the last time, it just got squished too much and snapped the neck.
I'm thinking there's somebody listening to this that can get you an endorsement for a flight case, man. Hook up Justin.
Yeah. Endorsements. You know what? I have I use Hiwatt. I have like a musician's deal with Hiwatt. And the only other endorsement I ever had was with Ludwig Drums that custom built my drum kit.
That's cool.
And apart from that, I've never really had endorsements. But yeah, endorsements would be lovely, especially an Epiphone one because I love Epiphone guitars.
Come on, man! You don't have too many, big time artists saying that. So Epiphone, get on the stick. Gibson needs a good presence right now.
I don't know, but actually, at the minute I'm using a Hagstrom.
Oh yeah. They're out of like Norway,
Sweden.
Yeah.
And it's purely because Daniel, our singer's got one, and I picked up his, and it was so close to what I really love about Epiphones.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a very similar kind of neck. It's kind of shallow and wider than usual. The whole body I like because I really like Firebirds. Gibson Firebird, that shape, and I had like an Epiphone Firebird for a while. And the Phantom and the Hagstrom Phantom, it's got that kind of look and feel to it.
They're getting a lot of publicity now because the guys from Ghost, do you know that band?
Yeah,
play them, and you can't.
I think the Phantom Man is actually probably their signature.
Yeah, I think so. And because I see them.
I'm not really into Ghost at all. To be honest, I've never really listened to him, but it's
it's funny though, like they can't see these guys or nothing.
Yeah, right.
It's like just it's kind of like anti, in a sense, what music should be, and yet fucking crowds are berserk over them.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy how they've blown up. I mean, but more power to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've come up with a great guitar, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if it's kind of cheesy. I like that guitar, and
awesome.
I'll play it.
3 Desert Island discs, no particular order, just for now, man, because you can't pick them out.
Bad Moon Rising, Creedence.
Wow, that's not something I expected. That's like nostalgia from record store days of your dad, right?
Yeah, I think it's just something that's just always stuck with me.
Great record.
For whatever reason. Victory by No Means No. Which, by the way, I did a version of that on Honorifics. And but I was scared. I was kind of scared to do it.
Why?
It's my favorite. So because it's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to ruin it. So
I get that.
And a third. I don't know. I mean, it's probably Childhood's End, Pink Floyd.
Correct. That's just a song, though. That's not a. It's funny.
You want albums?
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite songs. My favorite Floyd song. Yeah, it's a beautiful song, man.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Obscured by Clouds. Actually, that is my favorite Pink Floyd album. There's some amazing stuff on that, and it kind of got forgotten about. But it's really garage. It's really really lo-fi, but just amazing at the same time.
Isn't
very simple stuff.
What's shit? Now I'm having a brain fart. Not child. What's the song you just said? Childhood's
End.
What's the other cool song that came off there? All
right.
I'm having it's a senior moment here. There's a lot of good tracks off those early Floyd things that are just, You know what I did? I watched the documentary. You ever seen on Netflix, the making of Dark Side of the Moon?
I think I've seen that one. I watched one recently, but it was Wish You Were Here.
Right. They have the making of Wish You. This is really good. And I think Gilmore or Waters told the story that, that song, The Lunatic is on the Grass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
best bit of the album, that is.
That's right. And then he talked about where he wrote that. He was he used to go to college at Cambridge, and he was sitting on this lawn at King's College Chapel, and he said, "There's this lawn in front of it," and he said, "This is beautiful grass, and there's always this sign: don't walk on the grass." And he said, "I never understood it, because like, why would you have this beautiful patch of grass and you like don't walk on it? Well, like, what's the purpose of it?" So this is really cool. So I told you my wife's from the UK. I guess, man, this had to be, my older son's 28. This had to be when he was 15. So 13, 14 years ago, probably, we went there, the whole family. And we went to Cambridge. And it was so old. It was like, I think before the iPod, I remember I had a cassette or a CD player with me. And I brought Dark Side of the Moon, and I had 2 headphones, like a plug and a split the headphones. So my son had one and I had, and we sat there on that same bench where he wrote the song, right on the side of the grass there, just my son and I, and we just listened to the whole thing.
Oh, brilliant.
That was so freaking cool, man. It was like something weird about that, because like that's where history was, to me, that history was made there,
Yeah.
And that was like,
it's very rare that you can find those places as well.
to even know about it. How the hell would I, I was very lucky. And we just happened to be at Cambridge, and I was like, shit, we're going to go here, and I'm going to sit here on the side, and I'm bringing this music, and we're just going to hang out. And I guess my wife and the other kids did something else for a while, but that was a big cross between a highlighting parenting and like music moment at the same time, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, righteous.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about me, but
that is like 100% good parenting, right?
Oh, that was. Oh, you know what else I did, man? I took him to. We've had some good stuff. We went up to New York because I'm from there originally, and we went and we flew into the city, and we drove up to Woodstock. We saw the campus there, and then when we came back, and we saw the Allman Brothers at the Beacon Theater.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was. I've had some pretty good, music is so meaningful to me that and he likes it. So I've always tried to, kind of like what your dad did with you with all the music. And that's
actually on topic is I was fortunate enough to see Pink Floyd.
No.
And that's because my dad got VIP tickets because of one of the record company reps that used to come around the shop to sell albums.
Oh my
gave
God.
Gave him some free VIP tickets to a Pink Floyd concert, and that was in the mid '80s. So
what tour is it? The Wall?
No, it was the one directly after. It was the first one without Roger Waters. So unfortunately, I missed Roger Waters, but at least I saw them. So
like a momentary lapse of reason, maybe?
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great record, man.
Yeah,
great record.
But it was still pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's 3 out of 4.
It was a shame that it wasn't with Roger Waters, but I mean.
Yeah, but just to see Pink Floyd, even without Roger Waters, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
man.
I guess I was born too late to see them when it was really good, but.
And you had VIP too, so you probably had great seats, which is awesome.
Yeah, we were just to stage left. Kind of, if you look at the stage on the right hand side, and it was just up on one tier.
That's great.
So when the pig came out, it was right bang in front. I mean, I could have almost reached out and touched the pig.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So that was very cool.
Where'd you see him at? The O2 Arena or?
No, it was before the O2. It was I think it was just called London Arena at the time.
Very cool,
it was before the O2 was even built.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll put a Pink Floyd record as your last one. CCR, No Means No, and a Pink Floyd. Very cool.
If you're talking albums, Victory is a song. No Means No song.
So what would the album be? What would your album be?
That song is on, it's an album called Small Parts Isolated and Destroyed.
All right, man. So now that you're on this, let's just talk real quick about your album titles and the covers because they're so cool. So let me just tell the listeners, for those of you who may not know, Crippled Black Phoenix, I wanted some of the titles. So The Resurrectionists and Night Raider. That's one.
Night Raider was somebody in my dream. It wasn't a very nice dream.
I was going to say, yeah.
It was a big. It was like a 7-foot Looney Tune.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Yeah, and he was wearing a tracksuit, and he stopped me from getting out of a public toilet. He stood in the way.
Wow, that's weird.
He wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me out of the cubicle, and he had a really straight fringe like that.
I hope you didn't go to a therapist with that. They might lock you up.
I know, but I distinctly remember in the dream. I was like, "Who the hell are you?" And it wouldn't say. And then did he tell me that was Mr. But anyway, it turns out that he was called Night Raider.
That's wild.
It was this really, really tall mental guy with a tracksuit on, and he called himself Night Raider.
It could be anybody here in America, actually.
He wouldn't let me out of the toilet. Yeah.
Anybody at a mall here in America, it sounds like very, very. And then you had I Vigilante, which we talked about, which is about vigilantes.
Yeah, actually, the one of the ex-band members that I subsequently fell out with big time. They tried to tell me not to call the album I Vigilante because they were worried about what people would think.
Man, I think this is music. I don't think anybody like.
Come on, it's you free. You know, music is you're free to express yourself how you want. I mean, come on.
But it's not like it's not even like there's nothing inappropriate about that. I don't even.
Nope.
That's not something. God, if you're worried about shit like that, you got no coping skills. Don't even leave the fucking house. I mean, seriously, if that is concerned.
Like I said, that was like that was all to do with ego and wanting to be like really massive and famous and stuff. And yeah,
that's a great title.
Like that. And he thought like that, and I didn't think like that. I Vigilante, yeah, I don't, yeah.
That's a massive title. That's awesome. I mean, like that's great.
I think it was like for better for worse because I don't care what people think. That's how I regard myself as within music. That was the thing with it.
Well, then having that mindset, then when someone tells you not to, then you're going to dig your fucking feet in. Like, there's no way, no way we're changing this, and we'll come to blows, and I'll kill you. But,
and subsequently we did, but I didn't kill him.
You didn't kill him.
No, well, that's what I told the police.
The police. There you go. Stick to that story, man.
Yeah. I didn't burn him.
Wait, and then you had Mankind, the Crafty Ape.
Yep.
Very deep. But where did that so you have a thing for like wolves or dogs? Yeah,
but it's not intentional, I swear. You know, it's just like a running theme. It's just like Mankind, the Crafty Ape has got a song on it called Concerning Dog Heads, which is the whole dog head thing. It was the kind of harks back to the wolf, there is a bit of an animal thing going on. Same with you get bronze and it's the big strong bear thing, and yeah. And then, Crafty Ape, I mean, it speaks for itself.
Great record.
Most of what the I wouldn't call them concepts. They're just themes and ideas that run through the albums, but a lot of them are about human condition, really.
Which I think is great. That's probably why I'm so attracted to. I like that stuff, and
it makes us who we are.
I think it's I like that. I'm with you, man. That's why we're on this conversation, probably. And then No Sadness or Farewell. That is,
I think that's my favorite.
Your favorite record?
I think so. I think it's my favorite record and favorite title as well.
So that album looks like a. You mentioned Judge Dredd. It could be like a real high quality, comic cover. It's like a post-apocalyptic sort of looking thing.
Yeah, with the soldier, and then it's got a little representation of a cat that I had.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but that was more about parting ways with a lot of things.
So it was like a catharsis album.
Yeah, and I lost that cat.
Man!
He was only a year old, and it was born with a lot of problems, and his basically his spine and hips his body didn't grow basically, so it was like kind of dwarfed, if you see what I mean, but it wasn't dwarfism. And I looked after him every single day.
Yeah.
I used to have to clean his bum. You know what I mean?
Sure,
every single day, and he was the sweetest little thing. And I lost him while I was at the studio.
Oh, dude.
Recording that album, and it was just like a massive, massive blow, because I actually feel more about like little cat than I do family and friends when they pass, you know.
Oh, man, I'm a big animal. No, I'm a big animal. We have a bunch of animals. Yeah. I understand 100%. And man, there's nothing like the love of an animal. I even say the word animal is like, you know, a lovely little pet. Yeah, we have cats.
There's above the TV. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a massive, great big.
Oh, yeah. Is that the cat?
That guy. Yeah, that's him.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, he was called Toad.
I'm sorry about that, man. I know that sucks.
Right. But that album, for whatever reason, that time of my life was just, it was all loss, and it was all shit and sorrow, and I think that just the title of it, you know.
No sadness. I'm going to go back and listen to it.
It's basically kicking against the title. You know, the title was kicking against all of that. It was like, no, fuck that. There's no sadness. There's no farewell. We don't say goodbye. You know, we move on. We make the best of it.
So it was like a healing for you in a way.
Yeah, and there's always like people say there's a lot of darkness in stuff, in the Crippled Black Phoenix stuff, but I see there's a lot more hope in it, because
it is dark though.
Yeah, I know, but that's because it could.
It's not.
I haven't. The thing is that I don't lead a blessed life. You know what I mean? And I've kind of bounced along the bottom. I've had to cope with a lot of different things personally, but I'm not going to go bleat on like typo negative about, you know, how cool it is to sit in your bedroom in the dark and slit your wrists and stuff. You know, when you truly live through some really dark things, then you've always going to write about hope, because that's all you've got, you know.
I agree.
That's I get really mad about, like, you know, kind of these bands, these like kind of teen emo metal bands or whatever, and it's just like it's okay to commit suicide, you know, all that. No, fuck that. That makes me really angry, you know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. That's not cool.
So, I mean, I've got every reason to fucking go jump off a bridge, you know what I mean? As much as anybody else, you know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody's got a good reason to go fucking do it. But, but I'm still here, you know. I'm glad that other people are still here that don't do it, you know. So that always comes through with Crippled Black Phoenix stuff. I can't help it.
It's very redemptive. It is dark, but redemptive. And that's what I like about it. You take us down and then you come out.
Yeah. Well, it's like you say, no sadness or farewell. It says it all, really. It just like, you know, screw you, darkness, you know.
I'm going to go back and listen to that today now. And then you had live, is that Poznan?
Poznan, yeah. That was a live recording we did in the Polish city of Poznan.
Talk about an intense cover, man. That's like a ninja just finished the job or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's the vigilante thing coming out again.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit, you know, I have that part of me that, you know, I have a balaclava and I'm ready to go whenever it's necessary.
A balaclava, just for people here in America, that's like a hoodie, but like a mask sort of, right? Like, yeah. It's like a hat that goes all the way over your head, and you have the two eyes and a mouth. It's like a woolly beanie that if you pull it over your face, you've got two eye holes in it and something to stick your tongue out. Right. So that's a balaclava. They don't call it that here. I don't know what they call it, but and the only reason I know is because we were watching this UK TV show, and they kept referring to the guy in the balaclava who did the murder. I forgot what it was called. White Light Generator. That was totally different. Now that was like White Light Generator. That was a big bright cover. Yeah. That was straight. I really like that cover. Not many people do though. But no, I love it. I think it's very cool. It was definitely an attempt to just do something a bit different. I mean, a lot of the time, I mean, obviously, I work really closely with people who do the artwork, and Matthew Dunn did the artwork for a lot of the albums. But I always believe that
the artist who's doing the cover, whoever it is, it has to be 100% them. Even though if I tell them, here's the title, this is what the album is about, this is kind of the theme, whatever the artwork is, it has to come from them, because they have to believe in it for it to be genuine.
Yeah. And
that's why I don't work with many different people. I worked with Matthew Dunn for a long time. I mean, he still does things from time to time, but, you know, we're both busy. We've got other things now, you know what I mean? He's got other things going on. And, yeah, I mean, the White Light Generator thing, I think there's some really cool things in that artwork on that album. I mean,
there's great songs on there, man. Just a Brighter Tomorrow is great. I mean, Remember You.
No was on there.
Yeah, No Part 1 and Part 2, both great songs. And then you have this.
That's become a very big live song.
It's a great song, man. And then you have like, what is this one song? The 7th song. It's just like a blank line.
Yeah. It is just a line. Yeah.
What's the title of that? It's like.
I guess that's its title. I don't know.
It's so funny, man.
It's my friend Billy Clark, who's an actor. Him and a guy called Sean Hogan, and Sean Hogan's the film. He's a writer-director. He's the guy that I worked with on films as well.
Okay.
And
the soundtracks you did.
Basically wanted a spoken word ambient track, so I did the ambient music for it. And then we asked Billy, who's an actor, who's been in several of his films, and I know him as well. He's a really, really nice guy. Sean wrote the script for him, and he spoke it, and that's that song. But there's just no appropriate title for it because it's just so dark. It's just like you don't title a piece of art that's that dark.
It's a great album. Great album. And then you have New Dark Age, which is like some like giant squid or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's the proper New Dark Age, post-apocalyptic kind of. That's where we're heading. The weird music monster with the gramophone with people pulling it along. Yeah, creating slaves to pedal old draconian music.
And then
strange on
Bronze, which was also a departure art wise. It's like a golden, the bear head falling apart or something.
Yeah, they're bronze. Yeah. I mean, that's all about, you know, basically strength and fragility. Bronze being like quite a pliable metal as well. It's made up of different constituents, and you can mold it, but it's very strong, and you can weaponize it, but you can also make beautiful things out of it as well, which is kind of a metaphor for some of the music as well. Definitely a metaphor for the band. And then the strength of the bear, but the bear's crumbling away, so it's actually quite fragile. You know, that kind of thing. You know? Man,
you're very deep with all this stuff, man.
Everything means. No, that's the thing, though. Everything means something. You know, the song titles and things like that, and artwork. Today's standards, it's really disposable, and
very much.
I don't really think about it because otherwise I'd get very frustrated.
Well, you can't fix.
I think a lot of people probably overlook a lot of the song titles and the meanings and the themes and the artwork that I put into this band. Most of it gets overlooked most of the time, I think.
I would disagree with you. I think that the people that are attracted to your music are very. I know, like that's one of the things that is clear. I think people are attracted to your music because of these, in all these little components.
Well, everything's as important as the other thing.
Yeah, and the one thing you said several times, which comes through loud and clear now that I've spent some time with you, is you really want to be honest and authentic. And I think the purity of that, first of all, I have total respect for that because you have to work to do that. That's not like falling off a log, So I really respect your integrity and intensity in doing that consistently through everything. And I think that's a very admirable characteristic, especially nowadays when maybe people don't do that in general, you know.
I believe in longevity. You know, it's that thing we were talking about earlier, where you're allowed to, you're given time to develop.
Yeah.
And whether you like this band or not, the whole thing still developing, still working things out. You know what I mean? So, but I think the power is longevity. So, you know, at the end of it all, you know, when I finally give up on it, or I'm on my deathbed, then at least I say, well, you know, when he said he was doing his own thing, he wasn't lying, because he did it for so many years, you know. So the longevity actually just proves things that I wanted to get across, but people maybe not believe in at first. I think longevity gives you that.
Yeah, but everything you've done is the integrity is there, man. Like, it's so awesome. And I think that's I think people that are attracted to your stuff, just to get back to it, I think that's why they are. I think they pay attention to things like that. Like, you know, I've noticed that, because I'm really attracted to the music. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, when you meet a partner, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and you're really into them, you notice everything about them, right? Not just, you know, well, I like her figure. And I mean, it goes way beyond that, right? It's like, you know, the way she holds
and it goes,
her breakfast
it does that very naturally as well.
Right. And I think music is the same way. So, I mean, all of these things that we're talking about are things that I really was excited about your band before I spoke to you, of course, you know.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, it's very authentic, and I think you're doing a great job, and I have tons of respect for you, because I know you got to work to do that. You know, it's not, and you got to push, and it's, you know.
Yeah, I'd say that, like, you have to put up with, you have to take a lot of shit to be able to do it that way.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, if you do things on your own terms, you have to be prepared to work at it, really, and really fight for it as well. And I have to take a lot of stuff on the chin, you know what I mean? A lot of criticisms and, you know, things like that. But it's the same as anyone. It's just that when you do it in an honest way, that it actually, you don't have those kind of barriers that a lot of rock and roll guys put up.
Yeah.
So they'll put up the barrier, and it's all rock and roll, and they'll do well, and they'll say they don't care, but, you know, we're all human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's just that they won't show anything.
Sure.
And I just happen to believe in it takes a lot more strength, a lot more balls to be honest about things than it does to pretend to be a rock and roller and you know, do all that silly shit.
Oh, but man, I think you could do both, and I think you are doing both, and
I did all my rock and roll in earlier, like at a younger age, I think.
No, but I mean, but to me, like, I listen to this music. It's as good as any music out there. It's better than most music out there. I mean, this is great stuff, man. This is like what.
Yeah. Do you think, like, maybe, because sometimes I think that you need, maybe there's not a lot of attention span, and I think that's maybe. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not bothered about not being a big band or anything, because I'll be doing this anyway. But the reason why we're not, like, commercially successful is because we don't appeal to the shorter attention span. We're just not that kind of band, you know. It's not that kind of music. It takes a little bit more to actually get into it. And
that's a really good question. I don't know that.
You know, I think because music on the whole has to appeal on a really shallow level, you know, even if, like, the best artists in the world, you know, I mean, if they're popular, they must have appealed to the mainstream, and I think the mainstream can be quite shallow.
Yeah, I think it's probably there's a few things. I think to hit rock star level in general, in any business, by the way, this is just solely my opinion, based on nothing but, like, kind of things that I've seen on the business side of things, that outside of music, there's a certain template that you have to follow. And part of that template is being very visible all the time on social media nowadays.
Yeah.
Part of that template is, like, positioning yourself in such a way, like in the business world. Let me give you an example. Guys will get on social media and like leave these deep quotes. And the implication in that is that I've got my shit together, so I'm going to give you a golden nugget. So hopefully you can have your shit together as much as I do. Right now, I was a guy coming out of the business world before I did, and I never did that because, quite frankly, I don't really think I have my shit together, and I don't think I'm in any position to pretend to somebody else. To be honest with you, you know, do not listen. I mean, I just don't look at my. You know, I think you have to be very motivated by ego, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I know for me, I'm not like that. You're definitely not like that either. But to hit that rock star template, I think you really do you have to be very visible all the time. You got to be on social media. You know, here I am taking a shit. Here I am, you know, I mean, not like that, but you know, here's all the wonderful things.
Well, it kind of is.
But it's only the good things. You know, here's, you know, me eating at a 5-star restaurant, and I'm doing this wonderful thing. And I think you have to put a lot of that effort out there. And I'm not taking any effort away from anybody who does that.
No, but you've got to be comfortable with that, and that, I mean, to me, all that shit does not compute.
I agree. I presume nobody gives a shit what I'm eating for dinner, and quite frankly, I'd like to not have to take a picture of that while I'm eating dinner.
Yeah.
That's my fucking time, you know.
No, we're definitely talking the same thing.
And I think that's part. I think so forgetting about whether your music's even good or not. I think there's a template you have to follow. And I think if you're following all the bells and whistles of that template, I think almost anything can be accepted.
Yeah. It's a massive dichotomy because templates to me, that's like, you know, garlic to a vampire, you know.
I totally get it.
It's just not the way I work. So if I take the advice of people, management, labels, everybody, you know, wishing well, wanting to do things, you know, have a positive effect on the band and want the band to succeed. And everybody says to me, why, you know, it's such a shame that we're not more commercially successful. Everybody wants to help us out, you know, blah, blah, blah. Management wants to make it a success. Every one of those things means that I would have to, as I see it, sell my soul a little bit. I would have to do things that
I think you have to do things that, I don't think it's selling your soul, because if you're doing it and you like it, that's cool. I think you have to do, you know, like I don't.
The thing is, I would have to be doing things that I'm not comfortable with, which would make me miserable, which then takes the love away from what I do.
Right.
Which is why then would I do it?
Yeah.
You know, but it is a dichotomy because I'm not just thinking about myself. I would like this to be more successful because for the other guys as well.
Of course.
I want to be able to tour more. I want to sell more albums. I want everybody to be able. I would love it if we could make enough money where everybody in the band could quit their jobs and we could be a band.
Absolutely.
Right?
No
more session musicians, no more this, that, and the other. We could all be in this band and we would live doing this band.
Right.
And that would be amazing. That would be my dream. But the things that I would have to do to get there, unless I just struck lucky and just go, you know,
but even if
one
you,
album that for some reason appealed to the mainstream and then got one of those songs onto a film and it went massive. But that's such a stroke of luck. That's just like dreamland stuff, you know. That's like winning the lottery.
It is like, but even if you got that one album, then you still need to now follow that temp. You can't like sit in Lincolnshire.
Well, these days,
you can't sit in North Lincolnshire invisible and have that one massive hit and then like.
But then the thing is though this one, it gets back to the thing about like working hard at it, you know. I mean, there's one thing that I'm not scared of is working hard at this because
of course
it is really hard working.
It's very hard work,
and I would like to be in a position to be able to do more. I would, you know, if I was in the studio every day of my life, I'd be a happy man. That's where I'm comfortable. I love being in the studio. I love creating. I don't mind being on tour, you know. I've lived my life on tour. I'm a bit of a tour dog,
Yeah.
So I don't mind. I would tour more. I'd record more. That would make me the happiest man in the world, So the hard work, to me, if it's for the band, the hardest work wouldn't seem like hard work. So if I had that mythical album that went big, then I think mentally and physically still, hopefully, at this age, I'm still set up to be able to do the hard work for it. But I think maybe 10, 15 years' time, and I'm in my 60s, then, you start thinking, well, I don't want to be out on tour all the time and things like that.
Sure.
But I think now, that right now, I could still go, So what I'm saying is that you have that element of luck, obviously, and I'm not really super cliquey underground cult guy.
Yeah.
That dismisses everything. I'm not a punk rock snob. I mean, I'm a punk rock guy deep down. That's where I came from.
Sure.
But I'm not one of the guys that will destroy somebody who's successful for creating their art.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's silly to do that. I mean, because.
I mean, what's more punk rock? Going and working for a boss and earning him money every day of your life, or going and creating stuff and doing it the way you want to do and going on tour.
Absolutely.
What's more punk rock?
but to answer your question, I don't think it's the music is beautiful. I don't see it as an attention span thing because there's people out there that want to hear this. I think it's just there's other things you have to do, and it's a slow process, man. You have to start doing it. You got to get out. It's a lot of it's visibility, I think.
Do you know what though? It's like one good thing about where we are now with this band is that if somebody gets into the band today after hearing the new album, they've got so much stuff to listen to and get into.
God!
Once they've discovered it, and I think that's
great.
Cool.
That's so cool, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, So there is an advantage of being around for a while and not being really, really famous or anything. You've got all this stuff that's hidden away that people don't know that's there, and if someone discovers it, imagine. I mean, I'm just thinking of like how I would be as a music fan.
Oh yeah,
if I discovered a band today and then discovered they've been around for 15 years and they've got 10 albums, it'd be like, holy shit, I've got so much new stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It's phenomenal. Man, let me ask you two more questions, and I cannot thank you enough. This has really been a lot of fun for me, and I'm really glad I got to connect with you, man. Two tough questions. Most important things you've learned about yourself throughout everything, career and life experience in general.
Learn about myself. To stop talking more. I've learned to stand up for myself. Definitely. I've learned when to be strong and when to not be so concerned about appearing strong. I've learned that never. I mean, it is a bit of a cliche, but never leave anything unsaid. I think if I talk too much, it's probably because I'm scared of leaving something unsaid, and I think that's just come from being in situations where I think that's been the case. So, but yeah, I mean, don't screw anybody over to survive, and read more and travel more. That's
very cool.
If you want to know about the world, if you want to know about different people, go and meet them.
I've spoken to so many musicians that have said the greatest thing they've done to open their mind has been traveling. Actually,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And the last question, Justin. What's the biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years, and how much of that change has been intentional, and how much is just a natural process of aging?
Oh, well, none of it's intentional. I've just drifted along.
I don't believe that for a second. You're too your awareness meter is like on high gear. I would highly doubt that it's not intentional. Any changes?
No, actually, I think if there is a definite change, and it isn't an intentional one. But I haven't been drifting along, letting things happen. Obviously, because we're the architects of our own,
Totally,
fortunes or misfortunes. But the thing is, I mean, when it comes to changing personality, is I changed because of experience, and I've, like many other people, obviously, I'm no different to anybody else, but I've had a lot of experience. I think maybe a little bit more than your average guy who or person who will go to school and then go get a job and stay in the same area and they get married and get a house, So, and it's involved some pretty heavy stuff that's happened. I mean, life and death stuff and things to me as well. Having a stroke, for instance, and
you had a stroke
like that. Yeah, a long time ago, but yeah, it was a what do they call it now? It was like one of the mini strokes. Called it not TIA.
Yeah, it's a TIA. It's a TIA. It's a TIA. A trans
TIA. That's it. Yeah.
Ischemic. Yeah, it's a TIA. So yeah. Wow.
It basically it passed, and yeah.
So your speech was slurred, like you were garbled.
Yeah, it kind of screwed me up physically for a little while, for about maybe like a few months or whatever.
You
but
okay
it affected. I mean, I notice it because I'm a drummer and everything, and I had to compensate with coordination a little bit, and I suffer from a lot of mental things and physical things that come from mental condition. And I had PTSD as well, which was compounded the whole thing. I had PTSD from a succession of car crashes, one of which I watched a friend die in a car crash.
Shit, man.
And it was a lot of things happening in a short space of time, like stroke. I nearly died from pneumonia. I lost 2 friends. Split up from my daughter's mum. Blah 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 blah. Lots of different
Holy
things.
Shit! That's right. You're vigilante. That's right.
So, yeah. So without going into any of those details, that you're talking about personality change. That changed my personality, going through all of that, and then you never got over all of that, and so now I suffer from things like anxieties and things like that, and I ended up having a hyperventilation attack on a train because I can't be on public transport, and they had to actually stop the train and take me to hospital.
Holy shit.
It's fucking embarrassing, but
yeah, but nobody's looking at you like it's embarrassing.
Oh, no,
that's just in your head,
whatever. Man. Yeah. No, I'm not bothered. No, that's definitely personality change. Shit. And I think getting back on point. Sorry, I went on a bit there.
No, it's totally cool.
I think that my tolerance for bullshit and my tolerance for the unnecessary, stupid, petty arguments I have no tolerance for that. So that's my big personality change. So when there's a problem on tour and it's about lack of coffee on the bus, I don't give a shit, right? I never have an argument about that.
Yeah.
But if the bus breaks down, I'll be I'll be in that engine bay fixing the damn bus.
Yeah.
That's the kind of problem that needs fixing.
Yeah. So you've learned not to sweat the small stuff, basically.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good for you, man. Yeah, that takes a lot of pressure off you too.
Well, you'd think so. I still fucking I give myself the pressure. That's what I do. I'm an idiot like that.
Yeah, man. You know what? You know what helped me get rid of pressure? This sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Playing guitar. I've only been playing guitar 3 years, and that helped me so much because I'm like a type A. But when I play guitar, I have to be present. I can't think about some shit that I got to do in 5 days or an argument I had 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I really enjoyed that so much that I was able to just say, you know what? I'm going to fucking do this in everything in my life. Mm-hmm. And it was almost like a switch. And I don't know how or why, because I'm usually stupid and slow, but something happened. I'm like, man, this feels so good. I'm like any stress I'm responsible for, I'm done. Now, if life throws shit at me, No, fair enough. I'm gonna step up.
You know, music wins.
Yeah,
music is amazing for giving you that. It's the little bit of escapism, the little bit of focus that you need, you know, and it helps you put things into perspective. But it's the one constant thing, you know. Whatever, I can guarantee, whatever situation you're in, whatever kind of mood that you're in, if you feel like not doing anything at all, if you're so down that you can't even get out of bed, music, I guarantee, will be the one thing that you'll manage to pick up a guitar at some point.
I got to try, or all I got to do is turn on Troublemaker or Bastogne Blues, and that's the best medicine I need. I'm serious, man.
Yeah, but again, you know, it's another motivator. It's why I do it. It's because whatever bad situation I've been in, I can always make a bit of music, you know. And I could be I could have a day where, like, I won't even go out the house because my anxiety levels are so high. I won't be even able to switch the TV on or do anything, right? But I will pick up a guitar or something.
Well, you know what? That being said, it was really, you took a bit of a risk to do this interview, because it could have put no, seriously, because you didn't like know me. It could have been like an anxiety.
Well, play by ear, you know what I mean?
Well, that was really cool of you, man. Thank you. I mean, because this could be something that like creates anxiety, and like, you don't know this guy. All these fucking Americans, they tell you one thing and they do another.
No, maybe I think, you know, I kind of believe that when I think people should talk more about these kind of things. It's so easy. I think it's the easy thing to bottle it up and pretend that, you know, you're tough and nothing affects you and stuff. You know, it's very hard to speak about it, and I believe that more people should speak about it more, you know.
I agree with you, and I've had a lot of guys come on here and talk about things like getting sober, dealing with mental illness. I'll tell you, this is a God's honest truth. I got a message on Instagram this morning, man, and I was incredibly moved. A guy sent me a message. He said, "Thank you so much." I don't even remember whose interview it was. It was someone who came on and talked about getting sober, and he goes, "Thank you so much for airing this interview, because it really helped me validate why I got clean a year ago. And most important, if I ever feel like I'm going to fall off the wagon, I can turn this on, listen to my favorite guitar player, and have him walk me down from the ledge." I was fucking blown away. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I've had a bunch of guys, so what I'm going to do is now, because we air these on YouTube, I'm going to put a playlist for just people who've gotten sober. So people, because this is the second or third time someone said, I interviewed a woman one time. She goes, "You helped me get sober." I'm like, "What did I do?" She goes, "I was searching for musicians getting sober on YouTube about a year and a half ago, and I found an interview you did with so-and-so, and I listened to it, and it was like somebody holding my hand," and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Righteous,
yeah. I'm like, wow, man. I was like, So, man, I totally get that what you're saying.
Yeah,
yeah. I think I think this is real important to talk about this shit.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, actually, I haven't had a drop of alcohol since 2004. So,
fucking big ups to you, man. That's a long time. That's
and I won't be starting again. And like everything, like, you know, drink, drugs, everything stopped a long time ago. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I'll tell you what, if I was drinking now, I would be in not a good place, you know. So,
of course, man, you know that.
I fully respect anybody who gets sober, you know.
Absolutely, man. 100%.
So yeah, it's funny. Our tour bus is the least rock and roll tour bus ever. We sit around sipping tea in slippers.
Awesome. Just keep playing that music, bro. That's all you got to do. Hey, listen, let me, first of all, you're a sweetheart of a guy. Thank you so much. I'm really glad we got to connect. When I come to England, it'll be great if we can connect.
Give me a shout.
I will, man. I have to crawl up into the netherworlds up there to, in Lincolnshire.
Yeah, go north.
Yeah. Let's beat sitting around Dunstable, I have to tell you.
Yeah. So just go straight up the A1. You'll get here eventually.
I will do that. Let me tell people, first of all, please check out Crippled Black Phoenix. These guys are a amazing band. This is like just wonderfully deep, cathartic music that will take you on the greatest journey of your life. Really, really meaningful stuff. There's very few songs I listen to that I'm not like, just feel like redemptive. I think what I said earlier, it's just a great feeling to put stuff on and like, just get that transfer of energy. It's really beautiful. The new record is Great Escape. And there's also a cover record that just came out called Horrific Honorifics. Is that one of your cats as well?
It is. That's Tigger. Yeah.
That's my cat's name. That's funny.
Well, he was a street cat, and he's got 3 legs.
Really?
Yeah.
So
we're
cool,
not sure
man.
what happened to him, but he turned up at a doorstep with 3 legs. The owner that we knew, they left him. They abandoned him. So
I don't know how people do that.
He's a really old dude. He's like he just won't ever go. I think he'll be here forever.
God, I don't know how people do that. I read an article. Oh, anyway, please check out Crippled Black Phoenix, Great Escape, Horrific Honorifics. Everybody who is listening in Europe, these guys are getting ready to do a tour. When does the tour start?
That's 19th of March. We'd play like a warm-up show in my local area in Scunthorpe. And then we do a couple of UK dates, Manchester, London, Brighton, then we're off into Europe, Scandinavia.
Awesome.
I think it's about 3.5 weeks long or something. It's quite a big one.
Are you going to be doing other parts of Europe later on in the year?
Well, yeah, that's the plan, yeah. I mean, that's the trouble, isn't it? It's like we can't do everywhere all at once. I wish we could. But yeah, definitely. There's some places that we really need to get back to, and we'll try and do that. There's some talk of Spain, Portugal, maybe later in the year.
Awesome.
I want to do a little bit more in Scandinavia because, I mean, we're virtually half Scandinavian band anyway, with Belinda and Daniel and Jonas. Hey,
man, that's a great there's some great musicians and great music over in Northern Europe is phenomenal. Brilliant. Yeah.
No, I mean, if life didn't mean that I was trapped here, I'd be in Sweden with Belinda right now. So I swear to God.
There you go, man.
Maybe that's my retirement. And don't quote me on this, but we have been talking. There is a possibility we can get over to the States.
No. Are you serious?
There's a slight chance. Well, the difference is now that we got offered to do the Psycho Las Vegas festival last year. They gave us, they offered us a good deal. But the trouble was just the cost of the visas alone. It was double what they were. Because, I mean, there's 8 people in the band, So if it was just the band with no tour manager or sound engineer, that's eight times 2,000 or whatever they are.
No, it's crazy.
So with one show, we can't afford to come.
No, you got to do a bunch of shows.
Yeah. So now I think it's kind of opened up a little bit where we might be able to do at least a West Coast thing, maybe.
That would be wonderful, man.
If that's possible, we might be able to get enough shows to pay for the visas and the flights. And if we can do that, we'll come. We'll not make any money, but we'll come.
Well, please let me know because I'd be happy to post up the tour dates on our webpage for sure, man.
Yeah. I'd expect you to make the drive from Florida.
Get my ass out there. That'll be tough, but man, maybe give an excuse to get out there.
Yeah, I did make it. We did actually. Crippled Black Phoenix did tour the States one time before. 2009, we went up and down the East Coast.
See, I would do. I would come to the East Coast.
We did. I shouldn't say this, but we did it guerrilla style. We kind of. Yeah.
You got to be. Yeah, nowadays.
Snuck in and snuck out.
Yeah, nowadays, man.
Things have definitely changed. But we did actually make it over. No, we do want to come back, definitely.
Well, please keep me in the loop, man. I'm sure I would love to come see you guys play. And you guys are pretty active, not pretty active, but I know you keep all your touring stuff up to date on Facebook on your Crippled Black Phoenix page.
Yeah.
And you have
that's the best place. I mean, as much as I don't like social media, especially Facebook, it is very kind of interactive and it's great. It's a great source because it's the most up to date. Yeah. If me or one of the other guys post something on Facebook, that's direct from the band right then, which is great. Awesome. It's a great news feed. And
I think you need to post your fish and chips meal from.
I'll tell you what, right?
People want to know, man. What is Justin eating?
I do post random things, but I don't think people understand humor when I post things.
What do you post? I have to go take a look. I always see you posting.
You'll have to look back historically. There's some stupid shit on there.
I'll have to check it out. I just see you're pretty good about posting gigs, and you're pretty enthusiastic about that.
Yeah, so you know what? The one thing I really dislike is overbombing people with band propaganda. Here's us, we're going on tour, here's our new album, here's our new video. Oh, have we told about the tour? Oh, by the way, there's a new album.
Dude,
oh, here's our new video again. Here's us in the studio.
You got to get it out there, man. I think but
yeah,
listen,
no.
You're talking to the audience that they liked your page because they like your music.
Yeah, exactly. And we all know why we're there. We all know we're there because of this band and because of the music, right?
So put it out there.
Once we put the information out there, if we're doing a tour, we'll post it up or whatever. In the meantime, I might post something about something else,
Tigger.
But it's equally as interesting, but it's not just about me and my band,
Tigger. We need shots of Tigger, man.
Yeah.
We need more
Tigger's on there. He's easy right now.
We need more shots of Tigger. And
there's plenty of stuff on there.
World War is a band with you and Belinda. And there's
and a couple of other friends, friend Matt from the band Weird Wolf and Carl Daniel Eden, who's he mixed the last couple of albums as well.
Crippled Black.
He's in Stockholm and he's actually a great drummer. So the World War is actually more like a jam band, right together, go play gigs, everything,
Very cool.
It's totally, completely. I want to do something completely different, but it's definitely satisfying my need of something a little bit more extreme every now and again.
Vigilantism, musical vigilantism.
Oh yeah. The World War is it's super nihilistic dystopian black stuff.
Check it out.
It's an event. Let's call it event.
It's an event. Check it out on Facebook. It's World War. It's with Justin and Belinda. And that's it, man. I wish you well on the tour. I hope you do come in the States. And everybody check out Crippled Black Phoenix. They're awesome. And thank you for everything, man. I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. It was really a pleasure. And I really appreciate all your sincerity, man. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this interview, please share it with a friend on your social media channels. We appreciate your support and help with this. Thanks again to Justin Greaves for spending time with us. Support Crippled Black Phoenix. Check them out. They're a wonderful band, just truly awesome music. Make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com. Sign up to get on our newsletter list so you and I can connect. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.